Hello and welcome to Boomerang, West Lothian's weekly talking newspaper. It's Friday the 23rd of May and this evening it's Team 2 who are bringing you the local news from around the county, which is taken from this week's Courier with permission. I'm Rebecca and also reading for us tonight are Joanne, Sarah and Jane. It's a full Team 2 tonight. Diana's in charge of the recording and editing, which we all very much appreciate. Well, I hope you're enjoying this beautiful sunny weather we're having just now. Unfortunately, I think we have come to the end of the good spell as it's to rain tomorrow. However, I expect the farmers will be happy with that. Now, I don't think there's anything in the postbag, so we can go on with the news.
Warning over conduct outdoors after wildfires by Chief Inspector Elaine MacArthur Kerr. I want to begin this week's column with a message of support to our colleagues at the Scottish Fire and Rescue Service who spent several days dealing with wildfires here in West Lothian. The recent hot and dry weather has undoubtedly played a major role in these fires arising, but I truly believe that we all have a vital role to play in stopping them occurring in the first place. If, for instance, you are camping within the rural regions of West Lothian, firstly, please ensure it is legal to do so and that you are not an unwelcome guest on the owner's land. Thereafter, please refrain from starting fires intended for cooking food or keeping warm. Regardless of how experienced you are in camping, the potential for fires to spread beyond what you expected or for embers to reignite while you sleep is always there. Whether you are camping or just enjoying the outdoors, please also be mindful when it comes to barbecues. While some areas may permit the use of barbecues, it's important that you cook on and then dispose of them correctly. Similarly, if you are spending time in the countryside or woodland areas of West Lothian, remember to clean up after yourself and bin or recycle any of your rubbish. In periods of high temperature or strong sunlight, discarded glass can magnify the sun's rays and set fire to dried debris, including litter. Help us to keep these outdoor spaces safe for everyone to use. On the subject of the countryside, it is equally important for everyone looking to enjoy it to do so correctly, legally and safely. There is no trespass law in Scotland, but that doesn't mean that there are not rules that must be followed about how and when it is appropriate to access certain areas. If, for example, farm animals are within or if maintenance or agricultural work is being conducted. The Outdoor Access Scotland website has all of the information you need to stay safe and within the parameters of the law during any of your visits to the countryside, woodlands or forests. You can find that information on outdooraccessscotland.scot. In terms of proactive work being undertaken in our region, detectives and plainclothes officers working as part of the Operations Jetty and Virion continue to follow up on various pieces of intelligence received from the public, which is helping us target organised criminal activity. These officers have been conducting enforcement and disruption activity, targeting members of organised crime groups. I cannot stress enough how vital information coming from our West Lothian residents is in bringing these individuals to justice and mitigate against the impact they can have on our communities. If you have information relating to ongoing organised crime in your area, please contact us via 101 or make an anonymous report to the charity Crime Stoppers on 0800 555 111. I also want to take this opportunity to reiterate our home safety information given this continued period of lovely spring-summer weather. If you are leaving your home unoccupied at any point or when you retire to bed for the evening, please close and lock all the doors and windows. Fresh and cooling air is great as temperatures reach the mid-20s, but it also provides would-be thieves with opportunities if doors and windows are left open when you are not there. Please also keep keys to vehicles, particularly high-value and high-performance cars, away from doors and windows so that in the event a housebreaker gets access to your property, they don't immediately get access to your vehicle. What we often see is valuable cars being stolen, either to be sold on and fund other criminal activity or used in the commission of other crimes. Let's not give offenders an easy opportunity. For more information on home safety, visit our website at www.scotland.police.uk.
Council's plans for community centres blasted, and this is an article by Stuart Somerville. West Lothian's plans for community centres have been branded a massive own goal by a councillor who thinks the £1 million savings the council wants are unachievable. The council wants community centre management committees to either assume full ownership of centres or take on new leases, paying increased maintenance costs and charging more to user groups. Livingston North SNP member Andrew Miller said he won't be surprised if most centres opt for full council control, a new option proposed last week. Many fear that option will lead to closure as prices rise and public use drops off. And Councillor Miller claimed the council had pushed unrealistic options onto volunteer management committees. Management centre volunteers in his North Livingston ward warned increased costs will see users denied services. A volunteer on the management committee at Mosswood Community Centre in Knightsbridge, one of Livingston's poorest communities, told the local democracy reporting service, the truth is that the council has always managed these facilities, controlling staffing levels, working hours, handling all invoices and payments, and managing building services, including heating. They are not stepping in as saviours, they are simply altering a service they already control. The volunteer added that talk of saving centres from closure was misleading and added, I know the council will say that you could put a minimum charge on the meals, but if you have a large family, it might be too expensive. This might be the only time the family get to eat out together. It will be a great loss. Councillor Miller, who also volunteers at the centre, told the LDRS, the council administration has scored a massive own goal. Instead of working with community centres to see how they could cut costs and increase income, they have pushed unrealistic options. I would not be surprised to see the majority of centres return to council control. The council will lose its rates relief, usage will drop, and they just won't achieve the savings they are aiming for. Mosswood hosts the Venny Food Outlet, which raises money for the local youth centre and provides low-cost food to local people, and also acts as a point of contact for services. The shop could be lost. The volunteer added, the proposed pricing changes will make services unaffordable for many, particularly the Venny Food Outlet, which provides essential nutrition to families in our area. Furthermore, the planned closure of the shop will inflict real hardship on our community, both financially and emotionally. Income generated from the shop directly funds vital programmes for children and young people in Knightsbridge. This revenue stream supports our community's future, our children, and its loss will be keenly felt. She added, when assessing the value of community centres, we must look beyond balance sheets. The true cost of these changes will be paid in increased isolation, diminished mental health, and fewer opportunities for our young people. In a report to the Council's Corporate Policy and Resources, PDSP, last month, Julie Whitelaw, the Head of Housing, Customer and Building Services, said that the council management option could apply to 26 of the 31 centres. Council officers stressed that the option for assuming management control had emerged from ongoing consultation with management committees. Committees had also been made aware of the need to increase charges for all user groups. Only around £560,000 worth of a £1 million projected savings had so far been identified.
Partnership provides a real spark, article by Ross Thompson. A groundbreaking partnership project in West Lothian could be implemented in communities across Scotland after demonstrating its effectiveness in fostering community spirit, promoting environmental sustainability and combating loneliness. The pilot project, run jointly by West Lothian Youth Action Project, WLYAP, Almond House Association and Spark, a Livingston-based social enterprise dedicated to tackling social isolation and loneliness, has been praised for its innovative approach to tackling social issues while exploiting the added value of pooling resources and expertise. Scotland's Deputy First Minister Kate Forbes visited the project last year and was hugely impressed by what she saw, highlighting its potential for other communities across Scotland to follow its example. Funded by the Scottish Government's Investing in Communities programme, Growing Together has helped to empower local residents, equipping them with the tools and resources to create a thriving community. As well as helping to revitalise green spaces and implement community clean-up initiatives, it has also delivered a series of diverse community events and activities, catering to a wide range of interests and age groups. The project supports 5 community gardens in Craigshill, providing green spaces for growing, relaxation and social interaction. A creative writing programme led by local author Laura Farrell engaged community members in creative writing, particularly poetry, and a pre-employability project helped to deliver practical skills training for young people. Another project helped to provide support for young people struggling in traditional education. Organised by the WLYAP, it offered practical skills training and supportive mechanisms to help them transition to positive destinations like college or employment. Growing Together coordinator David Tatton said, "The benefits of the project are multifold for the area of Craigshill. The money that is invested by the Scottish Government through a partnership such as ours pays out in much more dividends than if it had just been paid to one of the organisations involved. We're able to tap into much larger portions of the community and ensure that more people benefit from that money coming into the community and it stays in the community too." Alex Fleming, Chief Officer of Spark, said, "We've seen incredible progress in bringing people together and instilling a sense of ownership over our shared spaces. Through collaborative efforts, we're fostering stronger bonds and building a more resilient community." She added, "We firmly believe that the model of collaboration established through Growing Together has the potential to be replicated and scaled up. The shared learning and collective impact have been truly remarkable." John Davidson, CEO of Almond Housing Association, said, "We're thrilled to be part of this initiative that aligns perfectly with our commitment to building thriving communities. The positive impact of Growing Together is undeniable." Beyond its formal partnerships, Growing Together also collaborates with various local groups, including schools, community organisations and service providers. This network allows the project to reach a broader audience and connect individuals with relevant resources, ensuring the project's impact extends beyond its direct reach. A cornerstone of the programme is its focus on environmental sustainability. The WLYAP employs 2 dedicated gardeners and a coordinator, and it has been instrumental in spearheading clean-up efforts, revitalising green spaces and promoting environmental awareness.
Grass cuts will be less frequently, an article by Stuart Somerville. Grass cutting in West Lothian's open spaces is to be carried out less frequently as part of a new plan to help make the county greener. Councillors on West Lothian's executive agreed to the new 5-year biodiversity project, which means a later start to the cutting season and fewer grass cuts to react to changing weather patterns. Councillor Sally Pattle, who first raised the concept of the No Mow May a year ago, described the move as fantastic. It's a step back from the controversial rewilding schemes of a few years ago, where roadside verges and large tracts of parkland and public open spaces went uncut for the season. In a report to the Council's executive, Callum McLaren, Ecology and Biodiversity Officer, highlighted the changes planned. They include increased cutting, 2 rather than 1 a season, on roadside verges and roundabouts, a reduction in herbicide spraying, and the changing management of grassland areas where cuts are reduced to 1 a season and to encourage greater biodiversity. A lengthy report on the changes stressed that areas will be carefully selected to ensure they are appropriate and there remains a good balance of land receiving the service standard cut regime and the nature management regime so as not to affect the usability of the space. The need to encourage biodiversity in the county has coupled with the need to respond to changing weather patterns to prompt the development of the new plan. Cemetery maintenance will be brought into the plan to align with parks management. Answering a question, Mr McLaren stressed there would be no change in the cutting regime in place for cemeteries where regularly mown grounds would continue to be maintained. Biodiversity would be enhanced in burial grounds by using different grass seed mixes. Councillor Danny Logue asked about how areas of grassland and housing estates would be managed. Would that be cut or would that be left, he asked. Nets manager Andy Johnson said the intention is to have a working group with partners in departments such as housing. It would not be one size fits all. It would involve consultation with residents, added Mr Johnston. Councillor Pauline Orr suggested that the 2 cuts season for verges would be more flexible, starting later in the season given the growth spurts in early summer. Mr Johnson said that flexibility was built into the plan. Linlithgow's Lib Dem councillor Sally Pattle had last year encouraged Nets land and countryside staff to consider adopting the No Mow May policy. This is a campaign encouraging people to refrain from mowing their lawns during the month of May to boost wildflower growth and support pollinators like bees and butterflies. She told the meeting, "I think it's fantastic to see biodiversity is at the heart of the maintenance schedule. I know that I mentioned No Mow May about a year ago. I do hope it will be a formal policy. I think it's great, especially for the laissez-faire gardeners like myself." Councillor Pauline Stafford, Deputy SNP Group Leader, welcomed the report and said, "I think that attitudes are beginning to change and the importance of biodiversity and supporting wherever we can as a council is important. I think more we can do in education and communication with the public so they understand what's behind the decisions. It's really, really key because there are lots of benefits that can come from lower maintenance. I know that on a domestic level, No Mow May is quite a big thing now. It's good to hear there's flexibility in service levels here. We know the changing weather patterns are only going to increase."
Councillor welcomes wing delay, and this is another article by Stuart Somerville. A delay in a decision of future running of school community wings has been welcomed by West Lothian's Tory group leader. 12 local primary schools have community wings where space is leased by local groups. In January, they were brought into an ongoing review looking to save $1 million by transferring community centres to local ownership. The move was criticised at the time, with concerns over why it was only decided to bring them into the review in January, 9 months after it had started, and the fact that community wings are public space in schools and are not the same as community centres. Councillor Damien Doran Timpson said this week he was delighted that officers working on the review would take more time to look at how the primary school spaces are used by community groups. The community centre review caused anxiety across the county since it was first introduced in May last year. Many local management committees have rejected proposals to take on ownership of the buildings, saying the largely volunteer-led groups do not have the expertise, time or financial wherewithal to become property managers. Opposition groups expressed anger when the decision was taken to include school community wings in this process. In a report to this month's Corporate Policy and Resources, PDSP Julie Whitelaw, the head of Housing, Customer and Building Services, said a decision on the way ahead for school community wings would now be taken after the summer recess, once council officers had heard feedback from all management committees. In her report, Mrs Whitelaw said the operating arrangements for the 12 schools varied from location to location, and in many cases those arrangements are historic, outdated, and in some cases undocumented. The report added, those inconsistencies and a lack of suitable reference documentation have resulted in a range of operational problems, health and safety, financial and curriculum related. And in some instances, this has given rise to ongoing tensions between community groups and those responsible for the safe operation of the school. A briefing for all school wing management committees was taken in March, and it was decided to gather information on the usage of the community wings, as well as consideration of options to reduce the costs to the council. The report added, officers' initial review of options for school wings had identified two options. The first would be for all community wings to come under the remit of the school under a curriculum-first approach, and for any existing arrangements with management committees to be cancelled. The second would be for suitable new leasing arrangements to be put in place at those locations where management committees currently operate the facilities. Those new leases would seek to address established operational problems and existing financial imbalances. She concluded, feedback from the management committees is still awaited, and officers require time to analyse and interpret the pro forma feedback and discussion with colleagues. Therefore, it is proposed to extend the timeline for engagement with community wing management committees and report back to Council Executive following the summer recess on the findings of the engagement and the recommended changes to the operating model. Councillor Doran Timpson told the meeting that the community wings should never have been brought into the community centre review process because of the unique operational differences between school space and public community buildings. He added, I'm delighted to see the extension put on the community wings. They should have been dealt with separately, but we are where we are with that. And there's a picture showing the Tory leader, Councillor Damien Doran Timpson.
Fiona Hislop hails party's plan for government. Linlithgow MSP Fiona Hislop has welcomed her party's programme for government for the next year. First Minister John Swinney has promised 100,000 additional GP appointments, scrapping peak rail fares for good, and introduces a range of measures to grow the Scottish economy nationally and internationally. Commenting, Fiona said, I welcome the SNP's programme for government, which has a real focus on the everyday issues that affect the lives of people in Scotland and will benefit many in West Lothian. The SNP government will continue its work to build the best future for Scotland through a range of measures, including scrapping peak rail fares, improving access to GPs, piloting a £2 bus fare cap, and helping families with childcare, maintaining increased funded childcare hours, which will support more parents into work. I am pleased to see this programme for government has been brought forward early, a year ahead of the Scottish Parliament elections, ensuring the people of Scotland will benefit from the delivery of it at this critical time. This programme will deliver for the people of West Lothian by fighting child poverty, funding strong public services, encouraging economic growth and produce high-quality jobs, demonstrating that the SNP is building the best future for Scotland. From September 1st, peak ScotRail fares will be permanently abolished, encouraging more people to choose train travel and help with cost of living pressures. Fiona added, as the Minister who launched the ScotRail peak fares removal pilot in October 2023, which successfully saved commuters in West Lothian hundreds of pounds, I am pleased to see that peak fares will now be permanently removed. The removal of peak fares will benefit many of my constituents in West Lothian who commute to Glasgow, Edinburgh and Stirling, making rail travel more affordable, which will support households as we continue to deal with the cost of living crisis.
Staff told not to get caught out, and this article is by Rose Thompson. Shop staff in West Lothian are being urged not to be caught out by the upcoming ban on selling single-use vaping products. The Scottish Grocers Federation, SGF, is helping retailers across the region to ensure they are ready to stay on the right side of the law. Single-use vapes, including those which are non-refillable and non-rechargeable, will be banned from June the 1st, with the Scottish Government bringing in the new law in line with the rest of the UK. SGF, the convenience store trade body, has issued an updated reader's guide on regulations for vaping and tobacco compliance, as well as a poster which it is encouraging members to display in their stores. Pete China, the SGF's chief executive, said, "Our members, including those across West Lothian, are committed to responsible local retailing and operating within the law. It's important that we do all we can to help ensure they are fully prepared for this significant change, so that staff and customers are all properly educated about what the new law entails. There is no transitional period in play here. From June the 1st, it will be an offence for a person or business to supply or offer to supply single-use vapes or to have them in their possession for supply. Any leftover stock come that date must be discontinued and stored separately for items for sale, clearly marked as not for sale. We are recommending that any of our members with concerns about complying with the ban contact their local trading standards team to ensure they are operating within the law. SGF is working with Police Scotland and Trading Standards nationally to help ensure that members comply with the ban, as well as to clamp down on any illicit trade after June the 1st. Those found to have broken the law would face a fine or 2 years jail term." Now, we're going to interrupt the news to bring you the intimations.
And now we bring you the deaths. Kirk Jane Finlay Beattie, Nee Hamilton from Linlithgow. Jean passed away peacefully at Middleton Hall, Uphall, on Friday, May the 9th, 2025, aged 90 years. Beloved wife of the late William and a dearly loved mum and gran. Funeral service will be held at West Lothian Crematorium in Livingston on Thursday, May the 29th at 11 a.m. and thereafter interment in King's Cavill Cemetery, arriving at approximately 12:30 p.m. Flowers are welcome. There will also be a retiral collection in aid of Alzheimer's Scotland and Middleton Hall for those who wish to donate.
Agnes, peacefully at St John's Hospital on Thursday 8th of May 2025. Agnes, devoted mum of Fiona and Ian, dear mother-in-law to Colin and Lisanne, cherished granny and great-granny, sadly missed by all her friends and family. A celebration of life service will take place at West Lothian Crematorium on Wednesday 4th of June 2025 at 11 a.m, to which everyone is welcome. Bright colour to be worn, please. Family flowers only.
And now we'll return to the news.
Young Jack's life was cut far too short, but his legacy still lives on. 10th anniversary of charity set up by terminally ill schoolboy Jack Truman. Article by Michael Pringle. A charity that was launched by a West Lothian teenager who had a rare and aggressive form of cancer has marked its 10th anniversary. Tragically, Jack Truman was just 15 years old when he died in 2015 following a fight with delta T cell lymphoma. Jack from Mid-Calder passed away less than 2 weeks after being told his cancer was untreatable. However, prior to his death, the former West Calder High School pupil was determined to help others who may find themselves in a similar situation. No one could have predicted that his cancer journey would leave such a lasting legacy. His vision was to provide a place for young people to gather where they could listen to music, relax and chat, and he raised over £100,000. 6 days before his death, Team Jack was launched and Jack's Den followed. It has been providing a lifeline service to hundreds of young people throughout Scotland undergoing chemotherapy and other gruelling treatments, along with supporting their families. As well as the main Jack's Den HQ in Livingston, there are a number of pop-up dens in other areas of Scotland. On April the 30th, the Team Jack Foundation celebrated 10 years of being a registered Scottish Charitable Incorporated Organisation, SCIO. Jack's charity held 3 open day events recently to celebrate the milestone anniversary and welcomed guests including medical staff, school staff, funders, ambassadors, West Lothian's Lord Lieutenant Moira Niven, Scotland's Health Secretary Neil Gray and Justice Secretary Angela Constance. Jack's mum Alison Barr, who leads the charity, said, "Thank you so very much to everyone who has played a part in creating smiles and easing the journey for our inspirational young people with cancer and their families. We could not have got here without all our fabulous staff, volunteers and supporters, and most importantly, our inspirational families. It was such a privilege to be able to share where we are and where we hope to go with everyone. 10 years of providing emotional, social and practical support to inspirational young people. Thank you so very much for being part of our journey, and let's see where we can grow to in the next 10 years and beyond. Here's to one amazing young man, Jack. His life may have been cut short due to cancer. However, his legacy is something else. What an achievement." More information on Team Jack Foundation at www.teamjack.org.uk. And there are some really lovely accompanying pictures. There's one of Jack, I don't think it was too long before he sadly passed away because he has lost his hair, but he is sitting wearing a blue denim shirt. He's sitting on a green sofa and he has got the biggest smile. There's another picture of Jack before he was very ill with his mum and his sister, and they are all smiling. I don't know, they're maybe at a party or an event, but they're all dressed up looking nice. There's pictures of Jack playing football, and then there are pictures of the people who are visiting Jack's Den, the Justice Secretary and the Health Secretary, and there are pictures of children with cancer who are playing. They're obviously in the Jack's Den space and they are playing, it looks like, with flour or sand, and one is wearing a wee purple princess dress and she's very pretty. And there's pictures of people. It's obviously a meeting to talk about it. There are people sitting around a big room in chairs, obviously discussing where they go from here. And there are other pictures of the family meeting councillors and other members of the public. And what an achievement.
Auschwitz visit. A poignant visit to see Holocaust horror. And this is an article by Ross Thompson. Members of Bathgate-based veterans charity ASA Scotland visited Auschwitz-Birkenau, Schindler's Factory and the ghetto in Krakow, Poland. those that attended described. Learning more about the horrific treatment of Jews, Poles, Romas, and others during the Holocaust has been absolutely brutal. Nazis removed all personal possessions from prisoners, then their clothes, cutting off their hair, taking away their shoes and suitcases. Thousands of shoes and cases, as well as hair, are all displayed for the world to view. Those at the camps also took away disabled people's walking sticks and cosmetic limbs before being murdered. Their walking aids have all been kept to show the world what the Nazis did. ASA members also describe standing on the railway line where the trains carrying those arriving as emotional. At the end of the concentration camp, there was 2 huge gas chambers. They had been blown up by the Nazis to try and hide evidence from the world. Tommy Davidson, Secretary of ASA Scotland Forces Charity, said, "The educational visit was difficult, but to truly understand the Holocaust and what took place just 80 years ago, we did it. You have so many mixed emotions walking through these museums. How can anyone try and deny the Holocaust ever took place? The evidence is all there. The Nazis were evil. History is repeating itself across the world. We must teach our past and learn from it. I urge every politician to take the journey to Poland to learn from the Holocaust, because political speeches every day breed hatred and division, and it needs to stop right now. We need leadership across Scotland, the United Kingdom, and across the world. We will aim to organise a display and share our experiences with young people and communities." And there are 6 pictures of the site at Auschwitz, and even just looking at the pictures makes you feel really cold.
Award-winning family butcher celebrates half a century of trade. Article by Chloe Goodall. A West Lothian butcher shop has celebrated 50 years of business. Boghall Butchers in Bathgate welcomed the community to their shop on Thursday, May 15th, where they marked half a century of trade with a performance from a local piper and a visit from their first ever customer. Paul Boyle, the owner of Boghall Butchers, told Edinburgh Live, "Our anniversary was on Thursday and we had a great turnout. We had the front of the shop all decorated, and there's a lovely picture with a big banner of Boghall Butchers, say I tear pie, and they've got celebratory 50 tagged bunting and dark blue balloons and light blue balloons with 50 on as well. So it looks very splendid. It was the 15th of May 1975 that we opened, and Thursday was our 50 years. So yes, we had a great day. We had a piper, we had the kids up from the nursery and the primary schools, and a lot of the public, and our first customer and our second customer from all the years ago. We really had a great time and great excitement for the staff as well. The occasion was a joint one, as the butchers also celebrated their recent win at the British Pie Awards in Melton Mowbray, Leicestershire. Paul told us, "We recently won a big award down there where our pie became supreme champion for a kebab pie. So it was a joint celebration, and all the customers were delighted for us, really. It caused a great stir in the community." It's not on a high street here. It's in a community surrounded by houses, and everybody takes part in it, and everybody enjoys any celebrations like that, so it was a really good day. Paul's father originally opened the shop, with Paul joining him shortly after that. Soon his daughter Marisha will take over the business. My father opened in 1975, and I came just shortly after that. I've been in the business since 75 as well. My father sadly is no longer with us, but my daughter, she's been in the business with me now for 30 years, so it's a great chance for Marisha to network with all the different customers. She's a people person, and she really enjoys it, and the customers enjoy her being there. Certainly we enjoy everything we do. With 50 years of business under their belt and plans for Marisha to take over, the Boyle family is gearing up for many more successful years in Bathgate. When asked what he credits his success to, Paul added, "I think it's because we involve the community in everything we do. It causes a great excitement and a great buzz when we've got competitions coming up, and it just so happened that after a big competition this time, it was our 50th anniversary. So I really think that's the secret, to involve the customers in everything that you do. And they in turn are, they're faithful to us. Through COVID, they all stuck with us, and we opened through COVID, and they appreciated that. Really, it's a great community here."
We're going to take a break now. The second part of the recording will start soon after that. Going to start section 2, which has some main news articles and also some sports news. And this article is by Ross Thompson. Pork sausage is a real prize winner for team. A West Lothian butchers reckon a pork sausage breakfast is the perfect start to a day. And Hugh Black and Sons Link Sausage proved the perfect start to the Judges' Day at the recent Scottish Pork Sausage Championship 2025, awarding the best in South East Scotland. Cameron Black was at the Scottish Craft Butchers competition in Perth to lift the South East Scotland Championship, and he said the whole team was over the moon. Now one of the country's largest independent butchers, with 13 shops throughout the central belt of Scotland, Hugh Black and Sons remains a family-run affair. Cameron, grandson of the original founder, said it was especially pleasing to get rewarded for what the family believes is a really good product. Our craft around 500 kilos of pork links at our Bathgate factory every week for distribution to our 13 shops, he said. It's one of our biggest sellers and a product we're really proud of. True to Cameron's granddad's original recipe, the award-winning sausage is now frying off the shelves, with production going into overdrive to meet demand. Word has got out and they're selling like hotcakes, said Cameron. You'll not hear us complaining though. It's a great to be back amongst the champions, and we'll be back to remain our title next time and really push for the Scottish Championship. Hugh Black and Sons are butcher shops in Armadale, Bathgate, Linlithgow and Whitburn. Gordon King, Executive Manager with Scottish Craft Butchers, praised Cameron and the whole team for the regional win, pointing out the high standard of competition they faced. The Scottish Pork Sausage Championship is one of the most coveted and fiercely contested competitions in the business, he said, and to lift a regional title is a real achievement and recognition of an outstanding product. The standard of entry this year was extremely high, which reflects well on our local independent craft butchers who supply this household staple food as one of their key products on a daily basis. Judith Johnston, Senior Account Manager with Championship sponsors Lucas Ingredients, praised the extremely high standard of competition and the regional champion. He said, Lucas Ingredients is extremely proud to be associated with the Scottish Pork Sausage Championship and would like to congratulate everyone at Hugh Black and Sons on securing the South East Championship in such a prestigious event.
Mum helpless as her daughter scared to go to school after attack. Anger after 12-year-old is set upon by a gang of youths. Article by Chris Gurley. A West Lothian mum has said her daughter is still terrified to go to school weeks after she was set upon in the street by a gang of youths who also filmed the shocking incident. Jennifer Storer, whose daughter Skye is a pupil at Whitburn Academy, previously told how the 12-year-old was reportedly punched and kicked in the middle of the street. The 36-year-old told her sister title Edinburgh Live that she had reported the incident on April the 29th to both the school and Police Scotland, but that no further action was taken. However, after Edinburgh Live approached the force again, it confirmed a 13-year-old girl has now been reported to the relevant authorities following an alleged assault. A spokesperson for West Lothian Council also confirmed the local authority is to continue working with the police and families involved to resolve the situation as quickly as possible. The frightening ordeal left Skye covered in bruises as she appeared to be attacked while lying on the pavement. In shocking video footage shared by Jennifer, other school kids can be heard laughing in the background. The mum refused to let Skye return to school for the rest of the week and said she was left helpless after her early complaints were passed back and forth between the police and Whitburn Academy. She said, "I feel like the situation has not been taken seriously at all. 2 weeks later, I was no further forward with the police as they stated it was a school matter, but the school reported it back to them. Nothing seemed to be progressing, and meanwhile my daughter was scared to go to school. As a parent, I was feeling helpless and increasingly worried for her well-being. After learning a girl had been reported in connection with the assault, she added, I believe the time it took to trace the girl was unacceptable, and the police response felt dismissive. Referring to her as only 13 undermines the seriousness of the situation. They initially stated it was a school matter, and the school stated it was a police matter, so they were both passing the buck. Many young people today view getting into trouble with the police as a rite of passage, something to be proud of rather than deterred by. A Police Scotland spokesperson said, on Tuesday, the 29th of April 2025, officers received a report of an assault of a 12-year-old girl on West Main Street, Whitburn. A 13-year-old girl has been reported to the relevant authorities in connection. A spokesperson for West Lothian Council said, Whitburn Academy takes all allegations of bullying seriously, with staff working to provide a safe and supportive environment for all pupils. While we have no control over what takes place outside the school grounds, we will continue to work with both Police Scotland and the families concerned to ensure the issue is addressed and resolved as quickly as possible.
John has 5 months to get Kilimanjaro fit, an article by Stuart Somerville. A West Lothian entrepreneur has been getting ready to scale the world's highest freestanding mountain by walking the Pentland Hills. Broxburn businessman John Keogh, who has provided more than 300 all-weather coats free of charge to rough sleepers across the country, is planning to climb Mount Kilimanjaro. Mr. Keogh, who is in his mid-60s, has 5 months to get fit enough to tackle a trek that will take him 19,000 feet up the dormant volcano in Tanzania. And tackling one of the highest peaks in Africa will be a test of resilience not only for him, but for the changing robe coat, which can convert into a sleeping bag. If the coat can work on the extremes of Kilimanjaro, it can work anywhere, he said this week. John has been fundraising for the Outsider since he started the community interest company 2 years ago. The change robe coats are handmade in Scotland and sold to outdoor enthusiasts, while all net profits from the sale go into the manufacture of sleeping coats to be distributed free of charge to those who live on the streets of towns and cities around the country. Having raised money through previous sleep-out events, however, he is now stepping up his efforts with Kilimanjaro on the northern border of Tanzania. After a day training in the Pentlands, he told the local Democracy Reporting Service, "It's a massive challenge for me, but it's not as big a challenge as rough sleepers face every day of their lives. My climb is a choice, theirs is not. I'm up in the Pentlands and I'll come down from the hills to safety and warmth. Rough sleepers don't. The sleeping coat is not a solution, but it is a way to survive another night. Rough sleepers climb a mountain every day. Let's wrap them in warmth and humanity and not judgment." As well as fundraising, John is undertaking the gruelling climb to raise awareness of the issue of rough sleeping, which he believes is a forgotten blight on society. John has already spoken about the Outsider coat at local schools and at cultural, business and environmental events. The success of the coats has prompted John to look at the potential to develop other types of low-cost clothing, which is of practical use to outdoor enthusiasts, but also of potentially life-saving benefit to those who live on the streets. The Kilimanjaro climb is not technically as challenging as the Himalayas or the Andes, but the high elevation, low temperature and winds can make the peak a difficult trek, even for a seasoned climber. The Outsider has supplied coats to the City of Edinburgh Council and works with charities around the country distributing the sleeping bag coats. You can find out more about the work of the Outsider at www.theoutsider.co.uk. And there's a lovely picture of John with his backpack on and his walking poles, and he seems to have a photographer with him who no doubt will be capturing the trek when it happens.
Brother and sister ready to give the marathon some welly. Article by Michael Pringle. Rain or shine, a sister and brother from West Lothian will be prepared for the weather when they take on the Edinburgh Marathon wearing wellies. Kate Hall, 24, and her brother Will, 21, who live on a farm near East Calder, are looking to complete the 26 miles plus run in the capital wearing yellow Wellington boots to raise money for two charities that are close to their hearts. While most of the residents in West Lothian will be hoping for a continuation of the warm weather we've had in recent weeks, Kate and Will won't be too downhearted if there's a spot of rain, as they take on the big run next Sunday, May 25th. The siblings will be running the marathon to help both RSABI, the Royal Scottish Agricultural Benevolent Institution, and Farm Safety Foundation, Yellow Wellies. Kate said, "We enjoy running a bit, but nothing serious. It's not something new to us, but not something we're used to either. We normally go out running for a couple of hours at a time. I did run a marathon 2 years ago out in New Zealand when I was working on a sheep station. We've done a bit of running with the wellies on. Will's done a few park runs in his wellies, but we've been training in trainers and not wellies. We've been gifted 2 pair of wellies from Hunters. They go right up to your knees, so they will be quite warm if it's a hot day. We're not racing or anything like that. We just want to get to the finishing line and get it done. Our biggest fear is that it's going to be hot on the day. If the weather's hot, we may have to be making some alterations to the wellies to let the air flow in. We're hoping it's a cold Scottish day with a bit of rain. I've managed to get a hold of other people who've done marathons in wellies before and get some advice from them. They've said make sure we get good comfy wellies and have lots of Vaseline and things." The 2 charities that Kate and Will have chosen to help are well known to those working in the farming industry. RSABI provides practical, emotional and financial support to all people involved in the Scottish agricultural industry, while Farm Safety Foundation, or Yellow Wellies, is a small independent charity that works closely with young farmers and a range of farming organisations to help raise awareness of farm safety. "We live on a small farm near Kirk Newton," said Kate. "These are fantastic charities that support a lot of people in Scottish and UK agriculture. The general public might not be too well aware of them, but they do absolutely fantastic work in rural communities who will be familiar with them. Kate and Will have already brought in over £1,000 through an online fundraising page." And there's 2 really nice pictures of the sister and the brother. One, they've got the big red Hunter boxes with a pair of yellow wellies on Kate's box, in her case with some lambs in a field. And then they've got the wellies on. They're both bright yellow wellies, and they're in the background of them is a big yellow field of oilseed rape.
Research team raising cash for funding charity. Researchers investigating a health condition that impacts thousands of people in Scotland will run the Edinburgh Half Marathon in support of a charity that funds much of their work. Dr. Rosanna Majboom from West Lothian and Agnieszka Campete are both researchers at the University of Edinburgh's MS Society's Edinburgh Centre for MS Research. Their research focuses on multiple sclerosis, MS, and they'll be running at the Edinburgh Marathon Festival this Sunday, May the 25th, for the MS Society. Rosanna, who lives in Linlithgow, is a research fellow in neuroimaging and has been working on MS research since 2017. She recently received almost £28,000 in funding from the MS Society to set up a project aimed at developing better MRI, magnetic resonance imaging techniques to measure and to damage in the spinal cord in people with MS. It's hoped Rosanna and her team's research will lead to better understanding of the relationship between spinal cord damage and MS severity and progression. This could help with MS diagnosis and treatment decisions in the future. Rosanna said, "I have always been very interested in neuroimaging and neurological research, but MS research is of extra importance to me as I have 2 people in my family with MS. I'm very close to them and they always want to know what I'm working on. They both sponsored me for this run as well. I've been running for a few years already and I really wanted to do something like this because it's just such a good goal to work towards. Challenges are good anyway, and even better if you can raise money for a good cause. Obviously, MS is very close to our hearts. Training is going well. I've been running 15Ks, so I'm getting the kilometres in. I'm certainly a bit nervous about it because it's much longer than I've ever run before, but I'm excited about it as well and definitely looking forward to it. We can't do research without funding, so obviously this is very important for us." Rosanna also works on the Future MS Project, a Scotland-wide multi-centre study led by the Anne Rowling Regenerative Neurology Clinic at the University of Edinburgh. Future MS began in 2015 and has been following a cohort of more than 400 people since shortly after their MS diagnosis. It's hoped the findings of this study, which Agnieszka has also worked on, will eventually help scientists and doctors predict how an individual with MS might progress while they are still in the early stages of the condition. Joe Anderson, Director for Scotland at the MS Society, said, "We'd like to say a huge thank you to Rosanna and Agnieszka, both for the life-changing research they're part of and for taking on the Edinburgh Half Marathon. The MS Society is the largest charitable funder of MS research in the UK. The research we fund is helping to transform understanding and treatment of the condition and taking us closer to our vision of a world free from the effects of MS."
1 million clothing grants to families by Stuart Somerville. More than 1 million a year to help families with school clothing costs has been paid out by West Lothian Council. The council offers among the biggest grants in Scotland and administering the Scottish Government scheme. With more than 7,000 children helped with school uniform costs, councillors heard that an update on funding qualification will ensure that as many as possible can continue to get support. Figures revealed to the Council's executive meeting showed that £1,206,450 was awarded to the school year 2022 to 23 to help 7,684 children. £1,255,530 in 23 to 24 to help 7,882 children, and so far this year, £1,187,250 to help 7,377 children. In her report, Nahid Hanif, the Council's Anti-Poverty Service Manager, said, to mirror the Scottish Government Free School Meals FSM criteria would severely restrict the number of families who would qualify. Councillors approved of a plan which will increase income thresholds for applicants in receipt of universal credit by the same percentage increase as the national living wage of 6.7%. Ms Hanif said this approach would also allow us to maintain take-up levels and the support provided to low-income households. She added the purpose of maintaining the UC earned income threshold in line with the increase in living wage is to maintain the number of families supported by this vital financial award as the cost of the school day increases. As a comparison, for the 24-25 academic year, only 5,262 pupils would have received a school clothing grant if the criteria for free school meals was used, compared to 7,377 pupils who were awarded a grant using the current methodology. The national level set by Holyrood suggests £120 for primary children and £150 for secondary age. However, since 2021, West Lothian has paid £150 for primary children and £180 for secondary. West Lothian Council still remains one of the highest paying local authorities for grants, with Clackmannanshire, Highland and Shetland paying a higher amount. Only Falkirk and West Lothian use the same qualification calculations to allow as many families as possible to claim. Councillor Pauline Stafford, Deputy SNP Group Leader, told the meeting, "It's fantastic that we have one of the highest rates and the highest uptake."
Champions at New Acro Club, an article by Ross Thompson. A pair of gymnasts from West Lothian Acro Gymnastics Club, Elevate Acro, have returned home this week British champions. Their success is extra special for the club that only launched in March. Gymnasts Alice Demana, 14, and 9-year-old Sydney Ryan, both from Livingston, became Scottish champions at their first competition as Elevate gymnasts in March and represented Scotland at the Acrobatic National Finals in Stoke-on-Trent earlier this month. The girls and their coach, Emma Melville, were previously part of Astro Gymnastics Club, which went into administration after their facilities were destroyed by fire last December. Elevate Acro have since been working hard to fundraise for new facilities and are currently training in 5 different venues until an opportunity arises for them to have their own venue. Coach Emma said, "I'm so proud of these gymnastics and the whole Elevate family. We've come so far in such a short space of time. Our competitive gymnasts have faced reduced training hours and increased travel time due to us not having our own training facility in West Lothian. But this amazing achievement shows how, with motivation, focus and commitment as a team, anything is possible. This is the start of something special, and we can't wait to have the funds in place to secure our own training facilities. We are so grateful to everyone who has donated to our crowdfunder and the support we have received from other clubs and Scottish gymnastics." Bronwyn Smith, chair of the Elevate Acro Gymnastics Club board, added, "We are a brand new club with a vision to provide a place for our gymnasts where our gymnasts can be empowered to grow and develop to be the best that they can be. The club aims to inspire confidence, which, together with lots of hard work, will hopefully see us produce more champions next season. The club continues to look for sponsors and donations. If you'd like to help, see their crowdfunding page at https://www.crowdfunder.co.uk/p//help-up-after-fire numerical symbol start. And there's fantastic pictures of the girls who won the competition and a banner showing the name of the club and the girls wearing their saltire around their shoulders and looking at their lovely medals which they won. Well done, girls.
Business gets Sunday go-ahead. A West Lothian car valeting business will be allowed to operate on a Sunday following an agreement by the local review body. A retrospective application was considered by councillors after a site visit to the Linlithgow business. Councillors agreed that the valeting business close to Linlithgow Rose football ground on Brayhead Road was in a mixed use rather than a solely residential area. In his appeal to the local review body, appellant William Rankin said that Sunday was one of the busiest days for this type of business. He added that the majority of customers stayed in their cars while it was washed and only a few customers left their vehicles for valeting. Mr. Rankin added that the business was providing a valuable local service and employment to the community, but could face closure if it could no longer operate on a Sunday. The Sunday opening had been called into question because of evidence presented to environmental health officers of the noise from jet washers and the sound of car doors slamming. This evidence was newly submitted, and councillors had to decide whether they should consider it as part of the retrospective application. Councillor Tony Boyle said the evidence should not be considered because the source was unknown. Colleagues agreed. Chair of the local review body, Councillor Danny Logue, moved that the Sunday opening should continue, with hours of operation to be decided by opening no earlier than 10 a.m. He said, "I'm quite happy to go ahead and take advice on operating hours for the Sunday. I don't think there's anything wrong with the 10 to 6 p.m. Local councillor Tom Conn seconded the motion and said, "The view I have formed is that it is certainly a mixed-use area in that regard. On the basis of more mixed business use, I'd be favourably inclined to its Sunday opening."
Thousands get broadband benefit, an article by Ross Thompson. Thousands of people in Bathgate and Blackburn could be missing out on better broadband services, Openreach has warned. More than 14,000 homes and businesses in the area can already upgrade to full fibre, but just over half have made the switch, meaning thousands of people are missing out. Openreach has invested $4.2 million in the new full fibre network, reaching around 90% of the properties. Full fibre technology offers a faster, more reliable broadband connection. The once-in-a-generation technology enables locals to connect to multiple devices at gigabit-capable speeds and will help businesses trade online and compete for decades to come. People living in Bathgate and Blackburn can see if they can upgrade to full fibre by visiting Openreach's full fibre checker. Robert Thorburn, Openreach Partnership Director for Scotland, said, "Fast and reliable full fibre broadband gives households and businesses significant boost." As the UK's leading provider of fibre infrastructure, Openreach is at the forefront of the digital transformation, connecting communities all over UK and future-proofing the network for decades to come. Our extensive network, the largest in the UK, means residents can shop around and find the best deals that suit their needs. But it's important to remember that upgrades don't happen automatically. People need to order to take advantage of the technology. Full fibre technology offers faster, more reliable connection that keeps up with the demands of today's digital world. Openreach's full fibre network now reaches more than 17 million properties.
Scared Dog Abandoned and Alone in the Bushes by Michael Pringle. A frightened young border collie type dog was discovered cowering behind some bushes in Livingston, abandoned and alone. The discovery was made on Saturday, May the 10th, near Ammonvale Stadium. A concerned member of the public alerted the police, who arrived on the scene but were unable to approach and secure the petrified dog. Police Scotland then called in the Scottish SPCA for help. When the charity's animal rescue officer arrived, they were met with a heartbreaking sight. The frightened dog had been left behind with all his belongings, including his crate and a bag of food, dumped like rubbish and left to fend for himself. It took time and gentle coaxing, but eventually the animal rescue officer gained the animal's trust and was able to secure him safely. The young male dog is now being cared for in the safety of one of their animal rescue and rehoming centres. A Scottish SPCA inspector said, "This is a stark and painful reminder that there is absolutely no excuse for abandoning an animal. There is help available, and abandonment should never be the answer. While the dog is microchipped, the details are outdated and no longer valid. He was left in an incredibly vulnerable state, both physically and emotionally. If anyone feels overwhelmed or unable to cope with their pet, we urge them to reach out. One call could mean the difference between safety and suffering." The charity is now appealing to the public for any information about the dog's abandonment. If you recognise him or know anything about how he came to be left behind, please contact the Scottish SPCA's confidential animal helpline on 03 000 999 999. And there is a picture of the wee dog who is lying cowered in a wee... He's like just cowered in a wee ball. He looks so sad, and I don't know how MD can do that to an animal. Awful.
Free giveaway as Lush gets set for reopening. This is an article by Ross Thompson. Lush Livingston will be opening its doors on May 24th to reveal its shiny new makeover. In celebration of the store's refit, the first 50 customers will be given a Lush goodie bag containing a bath bomb, shower gel and best-selling samples. There will also be free bath bomb making workshops during opening weekend, so all customers will be given the chance to create and take home their very own Scottish Nace Dressy bath bomb worth £5.50. Livingston customers will experience their local Lush store like never before, as the newly refurbished shop will include an entire wall dedicated to discontinued retro fan favourites. These nostalgia-inducing treats include cult bathing product, vanilla fountain bath bomb, as well as body care staples such as the Comforter shower gel and American cream body lotion. Livingston Lush store manager Emma Harvey said, "Lush Livingston has been part of the centre for 14 years, and we're so proud to be a part of this vibrant and inclusive community. We'll be unveiling some amazing new innovative products for customers to try, along with an exclusive makeup counter and discontinued product wall, where some old favourites are making a comeback. The store welcomes a brand new makeup counter featuring Lush's cruelty-free and vegan firework collection, so customers can explore the brand's innovative range designed to fit all makeup, routines and skin types. With tailored skincare, hair care and fragrance consultations on offer, there's something for everyone to enjoy at Lush Livingston. To give customers the warmest welcome back in store, the fresh handmade cosmetics brand has teamed up with the local bakery, The Larder, to bring visitors delicious sweet treats on opening day. Emma added, "It's really exciting to see my team's vision come to life. They've poured their passion and care into creating a space that's welcoming, and we really do believe in the magic of retail. This isn't just for us, it's for our incredible community." And there's a picture of what the store looks like now. The grand reopening will take place on Saturday. And there's a poster in the window, and it says, "The Daily De-Stress." Imagine a world where these are the headlines.
Delight a Scotmid gifts 5k to centre. A West Lothian daycare centre has been awarded £5,000 by Scotmid members. Answer Daycare Centre in West Lothian is one of 3 good causes across the east of Scotland that has been awarded a share of a £25,000 Scotmid funding pot. The funds were allocated following a vote by Scotmid members. Answer Daycare Centre is a long-established charity based in Whitburn, which has been supporting older vulnerable people, particularly those living with dementia, for almost 30 years. The centre provides essential care that helps speed up hospital discharge, prevent early admissions, and offers vital respite for carers. Robert Cook, director at Answer Day Care Centre, said, "We are absolutely delighted to receive £5,000 from Scotmid's Community Connect initiative. It will make such a meaningful difference to the lives of the people we support, especially those living with dementia."
Poynton's Armed Forces Tribute. Livingston MP Gregor Poynton paid tribute to the Armed Forces community across West Lothian on the 18th anniversary of VED. The Labour MP, whose own father was in the RAF, welcomed the UK government's new Valour system, a bold UK-wide plan to improve veterans' support services. He said, "To remember what happened isn't just about honouring the fallen, to remember also our best hope of avoiding it ever happening again." VED was a day of relief and celebration after years of suffering and sacrifice. My family has a proud military background through my father, who served in the RAF, as well as a direct link with both of my grandfathers having fought in the Second World War, one in Holland with the Scots Guards and others in Italy with the Royal Engineers. Here in West Lothian, we are rightly proud of our local military history. We're home to the Military Museum of Scotland and the Ancre Somme Association Scotland, a brilliant voluntary charity that visits schools and community groups to keep the stories of our armed forces alive. Backed by £50 million of funding, Valour will provide joined-up care throughout a UK-wide network of recognised support centres, regional field officers and tailored data-driven services. It will improve access to help in key areas like housing, employment, health and welfare, regardless of where a veteran lives. Mr Poynton added, "The Tories failed our brave veterans. After 14 years in power, they left a shameful legacy. The number of veterans forced to rely on universal credit rose by 65% in their final 2 years. They slashed employment support by having the numbers of armed forces championship in job centres. That's why I'm proud that this Labour government is renewing our nation's contract with those who served and the launch of Valour."
Musical stars heading to centre. Dreamcoat Stars, the musical extravaganza concert, is heading to West Lothian later this year. Featuring stars from the worldwide hit production, Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, the show promises incredible vocal performances and a musical evening of West End and Broadway classics. Journey into a colourful production packed with vibrant and energetic songs from the nation's most loved shows, including Chicago, Rocky Horror, Saturday Night Fever, Wicked, We Will Rock You, Les Mis, Jersey Boys, Dirty Dancing, Hairspray, and so much more. Draw back the curtains, sing along, and relive all your favourite musicals in one epic show. Produced by Matt Brinkler for RED Entertainment and Keith Jack, who shot to fame after placing second in BBC One's Any Dream Will Do. Keith said, "Joseph has been a part of my life since before Any Dream Will Do, and I've always thought about getting a few Joseph performers together for a concert of musical theatre." Joseph is such a well-loved musical, and we continue to be delighted with fantastic audience reactions around the country. We discovered the show not only appeals to people of all ages, it even introduced some of the newer musicals to audiences that haven't heard them before. We're excited to bring the updated show to more audiences in 2025. Matt added, "This musical theatre concert is the perfect way to make larger musicals accessible and affordable for so many that need an introduction to theatre. It gives us an opportunity to reach further into communities that haven't got access to number one touring venues. Dreamcoat Stars will head to Livingston's Howden Park Centre on Thursday, October the 16th. For more details, visit www.howdenparkcentre.co.uk and look for events and Dreamcoat Stars.
Okay, and after that happy note, we return to something not so nice, and that is that a man was shot with a BB gun while on his bike. Police are investigating a disturbing incident in which a male cyclist was shot with what is believed to be a BB gun in West Lothian. The incident occurred around 8:20 p.m. on Monday, May 5th in the Strawberry Bank area of Linlithgow. Fortunately, the cyclist was not injured. Authorities say a black Nissan Qashqai was spotted in the area around the time of the incident and was seen driving off in the direction of Royal Terrace shortly afterwards. Constable Ali White described the attack as a reckless and dangerous act which could have caused serious injury and urged the public to assist with the investigation. Police are appealing for anyone who may have witnessed the incident or seen the vehicle in question to come forward. They are asking local residents and drivers to check any dashcam or private CCTV footage from Strawberry Bank and Royal Terrace around the time of the incident.
Ford to drive Livy forward, American investor secures majority share. Article by Andy McGilvray. American investor Calvin Ford has become majority shareholder and chairman of Livingston FC. The great-great-grandson of Ford Motor Company founder Henry Ford has acquired all of John McElvogue's shares in Baycup Limited, which has held a controlling interest in the West Lothian club for 2 seasons. Ford wants to oversee Livingston's return to the Premiership, and they face Ross County over 2 legs at Armonvale tonight, Thursday, and Dingwall next Monday, to see which side takes their place in next season's top flight. It has become a kind of en vogue thing to become involved in European football and Scottish football, he told the BBC. To me, it's not about that. It's about being with the fans, being with the people, celebrating victories, crying over losses, feeling the pain. It's not about the financial or the ownership part of it. That's the way to get involved. In a statement issued by Livingston, Ford said, "What drew me to wanting to be involved with Livingston FC was the incredible leadership that people like manager Davy Martindale and outgoing chairman John Ward portray. They have a passion for this club and this community that is contagious, and I look forward to being part of something special here." Outgoing Chairman Ward said, "I feel that for the first time in the history of Livingston FC, we will have an owner who is working in the best interests of the club and fans. As a director of Livingston FC, I look forward to working with Calvin. I believe his integrity and enthusiasm for football will bring a sea change to Livingston and the wider West Lothian community." McElvogue will remain at Livingston as a director. He said, "It has been a great pleasure to support the club through its difficulties and see it bounce back with the first silverware in over a decade and a real fight for Premiership promotion. I believe the time is now right for me to pass on my shares to an investor with a real appetite to take the club forward and on and off the park. When I joined the club, I said my only aim was that, when I leave, the club is in a better place than when I arrived. I believe I have achieved this with Calvin's acquisition of my shareholding."
Lions motor into final in front of new owner. Livingston celebrated the arrival of their new chairman by motoring into the Premiership playoff final on Friday night with a victory over Partick Thistle. The Lions announced ahead of kick-off that Calvin Ford, the great-grandson of motoring giant Henry Ford, had bought the majority stake in the club. Ford has acquired 100% of John McElvogue's shares in Baycup Limited, which was the majority shareholder. And Ford was in attendance at Armonvale to see Livy defeat the Jags 2-0 on the night and 4-0 on aggregate. Captain Jamie Brandon, led by led by example against the Jags, bursting into the box in 5 minutes before half-time and slipping his effort under the despairing David Mitchell. Substitute Davy May put the tie beyond doubt in 66 minutes with a super lob over a stranded Mitchell, with Martindale hailing the takeover as the moment the club wrenches free from the doldrums that has haunted them. The Lions boss said, "It's kind of us coming out of the dark ages. It's been 4 years of torture." So it's brilliant for the football club. I've always said whoever comes in, they want me to stay or have the conversation they don't want me to stay, I will gladly leave this football club, shake their hand, because what Calvin's done has secured the football club for the staff and the fans. He's secured Livingston Football Club and he's put it into good hands, so I'm irrelevant in all this really. I'd imagine anybody looking in the accounts would have half an idea that they need to put some money into the football club, so I'm looking forward to the new structure that's going to be in place at the football club. Livingston will play Ross County tonight, and on Monday night across 2 legs, and says his side will be the underdogs. I'm looking forward to it because we are going to be the underdogs, so there's no pressure on you at that point coming in this game, Martindale stated. We were the favourites in the semi-final, so now I'm looking forward to the pressures all on the Premiership team, so we are looking forward to it. I think they'll come into the game favourites. I know the manager, Don Cowie, really well, and there's a lot of pressure on the team that finishes 11th, so they can't be looking forward to it. Now, that's us at the end of this week's recording, so when you've finished listening to it, please put the memory stick back into the folder and return it to us as soon as you can. Please remember to turn over the address label, leaving the cut-off corner at the top right-hand side. And with that, it's goodbye from me, Rebecca.
Goodbye from me, Joanne.
Goodbye from me, Jane.
And goodbye from me, Sarah.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.